All right, this week we're going to walk through exactly how we did this quiz. Here's the video just as a reminder. This is what we're going to be remaking. I'm going to do it from scratch, and we'll go through and see how fast we can get this made. So let's start out. I'll probably bring back to this so we can reference it a little bit. But let's just start out. So we need $99. We'll get our background started. So new, solid, rename it background. And I'll add a ramp on it. We want the bottom to be black. We want this to be like a dark blue. We want it to be radial. That looks good. And then we need text. It says $99. I'll set this to be impact. I'll increase the size. I will align it to middle. Looks good. And I'm going to draw a mask on it because we want it to be able to get cut in half, right? So I'm just going to draw a line from the top left corner to bottom right corner. That'll be one. That's where one of my slices will go. I'll duplicate that. I'll hit M. I'll switch this mask to subtract, so that'll flip it. So now we have one side that's up top right, one side that's bottom left. And I'll do one more that's just a nice fill that's no mask. So if I hide this, you can see there's a little fracture here that we need to hide. So that's what this third one will be. So this will be 99 full. This would be 99 bottom. This will be 99 top. Okay, we got our 99. Now we need our line that slices through it. So I'll grab my pen tool. I'm going to bring up my title safe so I can see, make sure I judge where this is going to go through. Well, actually, if I just hide one of these, we can see exactly where this line is going to go. So I'm just going to draw here to here, and then I'll extend it after that. Now that those points are made, I'm going to kind of adjust. Kind of bring it out a little bit. Okay, looks good. Now I need to remove my fill, set my stroke to white, and bring that down to like maybe 3, something not so huge. Okay, that looks good. Now I need to animate my line. I'll rename that slash. I'll go add a trim paths. Go into my trim paths. I want to set my start and end. And I'll end it here. So I just have blank keyframes here now. I want these both to end at 100%, right at the same time. I want my start to begin at 0. Everything to begin at 0 and everything to end at 100. I just want to drag my, I want my end to get delayed here so it'll start. If I hide my thing, focus on this. I want to start moving, and then here I want my end to start catching up with it. So that's where the slash will be. Easy ease those, see what that looks like. Looks good. I'm going to put motion blur on my 99s as well as my slash, enable motion blur for the comp. And these are actually going to end up being 3D because I'm going to have a light in here. So I'm just going to enable 3D on these layers as well. So there's my slash. Looks good. Got my 99s. Looks good. So once this slash goes through, oops, I need my little explosions. Let's hide these again. Let's make our little explosive lines using the same method. I always start in the middle. With these lines that you see right here, these little guys, it's easiest to make those starting in the middle because it uses the middle as your anchor point. So if you make them over here, your anchor point's still going to be over here, which gets kind of funky. So you draw these right here. Okay, looks good. I will do my trim path animation. And honestly, I can just copy that from here probably. Just copy my start and end from my slash up there, copy it to this. So now I have that movement. I want it to be a little faster though, so I'm going to speed that up a bit. Looks good. Okay, now we need to repeat it, so I'll add a repeater. And I want to do no movement on my position. I want to rotate it. not that much. Do that. That looks fine. Okay, so now we got that. I'm gonna rename that explosion 1. I will bring back my 99s, bring back my slash. Watch my slash animation. Right when it hits there, I want my explosion to happen. So I will grab my explosion and I will rotate it around so it comes out of that spot right there. Looks like I'll need to align this so it's timed out correctly. So it hits right there, so I'll line the first part of it up there. So right when it hits and goes through there, that's when it comes out. I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to rotate it down this way. I'll move this side. Looks good. I need to move. I just need to space this out a little bit better. That looks good where those are originating from. Looks good. Okay, when this slice comes through this side about there, that's when we want these other ones to happen. So I'll grab these, duplicate these, bring these down here. Rotation or explosion 3 and 4. I'll rotate you to line up with where you want to come out of. First I'll line them up so they need to start about here. Now I'm going to lock my background so I can just click this and move it. Move these over here. I'm going to rotate this one so it comes out of this the correct way. Okay, so we're getting there. Let me preview this. Okay, looks good. Boom, boom, got it. Now, once this slash goes through about there, we want this to start the move where it slips down. This, right? That's what we're looking for. I'm going to enable these for 3D as well because I want them to have motion blur. So let's do that animation. So we have our bottom, which we want to rotate right around here. This slash is just finished through it. So we'll hit bottom, we'll hit R to bring up rotation. It's going to be a Z rotation, and we want to set our anchor point first. So our anchor point needs to be right where this line intersects, where it's going to hinge off right here. So about right here, which is fine. The other 99, the top part doesn't really matter. The top, because that's just going to kind of fall. So we'll just set that kind of in the middle where it was. Actually, we'll just, oops. We're just going to move it up there. It doesn't really matter. And 99 we don't really care about. So this 99, the full 99, needs to be as good up until this final slash gets through it. So about here, right when it's going through its final, we want this to be done. We don't want to see this layer anymore. So the way we hide that is we hit Alt and then the right bracket will trim this to this spot. Otherwise, we can just grab it over here and trim it. Right. So once it goes through, I'm going to show it now. So it's solid, and as that goes through, that's when it does that. If we wanted to, you could fade it, I guess. So if we want to keep it, we could do like a quick fade out, just like a few frames, like a 4-frame fade out or something. What does that look like? Yeah, that looks like it fractures. You can see that a little bit. Okay, good, sweet. Let's do our rotation. So we got 99 bottom. We want it to start rotating right there, it looks like. So we'll hit R. It's going to be a Z rotation, right? So we'll do a keyframe for a Z rotation. I'm going to go ahead 20 frames by hitting and holding Shift and then page down twice. That'll move me ahead 20 frames. That's kind of what I always use as a starting movement. I want it to swing way back about here. And then I want it to swing back this way. And when it hits this point here, I'm going to ease these. When it hits this point here, I want it to detach once it starts swinging back. So I'll hit P, start a position keyframe here, then hit U to bring up all my keyframes so I can see rotation and position. And while it's swinging back, I want this to do a position move down here. Okay. I'm going to ease these as well. Oops. I'll ease these as well. I want my position to be lined up with that rotation. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. I'm going to adjust my preview here so I can see what I'm working with. I'll hit 0 on the number pad. Okay, so not enough. Looks like it moves too fast in the position first. So I'm going to slow this down a little bit, and then let's see here. Maybe you want to rotate a little bit more. Will that be what I want? I think it moves too far with position, probably. Let's try that. Good enough. I like it. Okay, and then once that detaches here, that's when this one wants to start falling. So I'll do R, we'll do a Z rotation and a position, P position, set my 2 keyframes, hit U to bring them both up. Oops, hit U once to bring them both up. And I'll have this to start falling as well. I want this to rotate, probably, which way would that fall? I don't know, doesn't really matter. It's gonna fall just down. So I'll move it down, I'll have it rotate a little bit. Ease those. What does that look like? Okay, looks good. I just need to push this back a little bit, give it a little bit more time to hang there. I'm not really, I haven't looked at my reference animation yet. I should probably do that to make sure this all looks good. Okay, looks decent. Let's look at this reference one. Okay, so it looks like it goes down, which is fine. So it starts rotating first a little bit and hangs there for a little bit. So once this starts going, I think this needs to rotate the opposite way. So let's do, instead of -38, let's just do 40. Oops. We'll do 40. And it looks like it falls the other direction, which is fine. So I'll push this way. See how that looks. That might be too far. Let's go this way. What does that look like? Okay, so it falls a little bit. It rotates a little bit and then it falls. So okay, let's look at this, see where this anchor point is on this one when this starts rotating. It looks like the anchor point's right in the middle. So I'm gonna go back and set my anchor point. See how it does that? Now it hates me because it's off center. So I need to get rid of these 2 position keyframes and reset my anchor point here. So I just centered it up. Now let's do a position move. We'll go pretty much straight down. And I will ease these. What's that gonna look like? Good enough. It's not perfect, but for the purposes of this, it annoys me that I don't like it rotating first, so I'm just gonna set them to be at the same time. And it's a little fast, so let's slow that down a little bit. That's almost too slow. Happy medium. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now we've got that animation. What's next? What happens? That falls down, that falls down. Okay, we got 2 lines coming in with now just $98. Exclamation point coming in from the right. Now just $98 from the top with an alpha mat. Okay, let's do that next. So now that we have this kind of first whole scene done of this 99, what I might do is grab all this stuff and pre-compose it. So this is like scene 1, right? Pre-composing, I do Control-Shift-C, creates a pre-comp, or if you go up to Layer, pre-composes right here. So now this is scene 1. If we want to go back and change anything, we can do that here, but I like all this, looks fine. So now we only have 1 layer there, but now we can focus on when this falls. There, this is done, so I can zoom out, crop this off so we know when scene 1 ends. Okay, so right here is where I want scene 2 to begin. So we'll grab my pen tool. I will create 1 line across. Again, very careful, making sure everything's spaced out. This, I still have my title safe up, so I know this distance here is the same as this distance here, right? So I created a line all the way across here. And I will arrow down into this. I want to look at the stroke. I want to make sure it's dashed like that. And I'm going to add some trim paths like we tend to do. I will animate the end. or maybe a second half animation where it starts, the end begins at 0, goes to 100, so it goes across. Easy as that. I'm going to shift this over to where it should be. I'm going to bring my render area over to the new area. Okay, maybe a little fast. I'll slow it down just a hair. That might be a little too slow. Okay, looks good. I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to move this one down to about here. I'm checking my distance to make sure the distance between this line and my shape is about the same distance as this down here. So having spacing in mind. I'm going to offset this animation and push it back a little bit, a few frames. So this one starts first, right? They're not exactly the same. Give it a little bit of variety. And now we need our text. So now just $98, I think is what it says. Go to my text tool. Now just 98. I need to make sure set my stuff to auto, 0, make sure these are 100. Let me go look and see how this is formatted. So now just smaller than 98. So we're going to align this to middle. I'm going to shrink this down. And I'm going to grab my 98, push it up using these little modifiers. Okay. Looks like in my quiz though, okay, yeah, that's about right. I'm going to align this to center, line it to center. And now that it's done, I'm going to make sure these are motion blurred, make sure these are in 3D. Okay, good stuff, good stuff. And I need my exclamation point, right? So text, exclamation, nope, not an @ sign, exclamation point. I will make this a little bit bigger. Okay, looks good. I'm gonna shift these over a little bit to just center this, because if you look at that, it's off center to the right now. Now that I added my exclamation point, so I just need to center this up to about there. Is that right? It's kind of hard to tell. I'm gonna ISO these just to show that, yeah, we're off center now. So, oops, that's why, because I'm hiding the wrong thing. We need to show my exclamation point. Okay, so just going off of look here, but that looks to be close enough. Okay, so we got that. Distance, I'm gonna bring this down a little bit so it's a little bit closer. Bring this up so it's a little bit closer. And I need now my track mat. So I'll do new solid. Put it right above where this is. This is what I want this to hide my now just 98, right? Put it right over now just 98, and I will set my track mat to alpha inverted. So now when it goes up here, it hides it, which is great. Drag all 3 of these layers over. I'm going kind of fast because I just want to show you how I would do this real time. I want this to be just a quick position move. We'll go ahead 20 frames, shift, page down. It moves me ahead 10 frames at a time, so hit that twice, go ahead 20 frames. Set my keyframe here, go back to the beginning, push it up. Holding shift so it's straight up. Grab my exclamation point, position, keyframe, shift, page down twice, 20 frames ahead. Create a new keyframe there, go back to the beginning, move it to the right, ease both of these, and offset them a little bit. Okay, we're getting there. Let's turn on motion blur, turn on 3D. Okay, how are we looking? So when these lines start drawing, that's when I want this to start coming in. So it can probably come in a little bit earlier, about right there. What does that look like? Yeah, and then probably go a little bit faster. So I'm gonna hit U on these. I'm gonna move these up just a hair. Okay, sweet. Did I miss anything? Are we done? Oh, I did miss something. So we have a light, this gradient effect. We need to add that. So this is kind of scene 2, which is fine. Let's grab this stuff. I'll hit Control Shift C. Rename this scene 2. Boom, we got 2 scenes. Let's add my light. It's going to be a point light. All this stuff is fine, I think. We might go back and edit it later. And we'll make these two 3D. And we'll grab this light right here. I'm just going to center it up. And let's dive into these light options. And if we play with intensity, no, that's not what we want. We want probably radius. I'll bring my radius down just a hair. Fall off distance. Well, we want just the edge of these to get nice and dark. So scrub through there. What does that look like? Looks good. I like it. Okay, and we're done. There's our animation. How much time did that take us? I have no idea. Is there a way for me to tell? Who knows? So there it is. There's our quiz animation. Done. Good job. If anything didn't make sense, you might have to go through and watch this a few times. But that's the walkthrough. I'm going to record the next thing we talked about, which is motion or speed graphs and value graphs. Just it'll be a really quick one, and we'll talk about it more next week as well. So there you go. Thanks, guys.